Tiny, toss. This is the one we were alluding to. I've been asking for this for so long. Toss grab radius increased, and toss now grabs the closest unit rather than a random unit. Praise Lord Gaben and Ice Frog for playing Han and realizing how much better this is. This is so much better. I can't even begin to explain.
I'm fine with this. This
You're
sounds
fine
good.
with this, yes, it's good.
Yeah,
It's a good,
it's good.
it's a good change.
So the thing this does is the way you usually played Tiny before was that you tried to position yourself. So rather than going close to the target you wanted to toss, you tried to find an angle where it was the only target within the search range, which is super counterintuitive for how you play the hero. Now you want to get as close as possible to get a guaranteed toss
Which
instead
is why
of
phase boots is needed every time now, I think, if you want to
yeah,
do
it's
this
a
correctly.
lot. It's a lot better now. I think. And yeah, the fact that it grabs the closest unit, yeah, this is
So
it's good.
I can't remember if it was
I have
always
no
like that
complaints
or
on
if it was changed, but Tiny in Han was kind of a staple hero, always seen as solo mid and as a ganker. And then obviously get the Blink Dagger, which we don't see as often. We've seen some people pick up Blink Dagger, but more often than not, it's the farming, non-ganking type Tiny. I think you could play this mid solo, just because of this change.
It helps a lot, at least, with the reliability of your ganks.
Especially
I
if
would
you have
agree.
an Alchemist.
Yeah.
Give you Agnes. Alright.
I don't know. I feel like that's going to be a broken strat somehow.
We'll see.
The Aghanim's Alch.
Treant Protector, Eyes in the Forest, area of effect reduced by 100.
Fair enough.
Okay.
That
Troll
was really
Warlord, oh
sick.
boy. Berserker's Rage
Alright.
no longer provides 15 damage. Ranging World Axes no longer provide vision. Same with Melee. Battle Trance duration decreased by 2. And then the Aegis thing, which doesn't really matter.
Mega nerf.
Yep.
So I think a lot of people were... like a couple of avenues to nerf Troll would be to nerf the items that he always gets, or to... A lot of people were talking about nerfing the ultimate by increasing the cooldown. My main issue with the hero was that he seemed very strong in terms of laning power and scaling well. And removing the extra damage from Berserker's Rage, like if that was the only change, if you remove the 15 damage from Berserker's Range, I would be like, fine. I think he's getting over nerfed here. I understand the idea of removing the vision from the flying or the flying vision from both melee and range whirling axes, which is huge for disallowing heroes from juking Troll, which in a sense could be, I mean, maybe even should be a weakness of the hero, that he needs to be able to constantly see his targets to kill them. So the flying vision nerfs make sense, but it seems like too much at once. Like for me,
As
this
much
hero
as I
went
hate
from
playing against this hero, I tend to agree, actually. It's an over nerf.
this hits him very hard.
Don't expect a troll anytime soon.
For me, this removes the hero from top tier Dota 2 competitively. Like you won't first face pick this hero anymore. It hits that hard.
I agree. Tusk, Ice Shard's mana cost reduced. Ice Shard's cooldown has been increased at the earlier levels and decreased at lower or higher. Ice Shard's vision reveal is now 2 seconds instead of 0.5. Snowball speed is now constant 675. I have a question about that. Actually, let's just talk about it now. What was the max speed for Snowball? Was it higher than 675?
God, I can't remember.
I think
Yes,
it was, though, right?
It definitely was.
It had a minimum, maximum, and they were both sides. So this is probably taking in the middle somewhere, maybe a little bit higher than average.
This is still really fast. To get an idea of how fast this is Spirit Breaker charge level... Is it level 2 that's 650? I think Spirit Breaker charge is 600, 650,
sure.
700, 750, right? So it's like Spirit Breaker charge level 2.5 in speed.
Okay. Snowball no longer auto-loads units in 100 range, but you can add people into your Snowball while moving.
That is so cool.
And
That
added
is
an
super
Aghanim
cool.
Scepter for Tusk adds a new ability that syndereN brought up earlier, a Walrus Kick, where you kick the target back 900 units and it slows them for 40% for 4 seconds. So I assume the combo is you snowball in, you position yourself with phase boots if need be to the other side of the hero, kick him back, then walk back up and Walrus punch him or something like that.
It doesn't say here whether this is castable on allies, which is actually really interesting if it is, because then it's like an extra kind of force staff where you do it in a direction, but
It's
that
like
could be
Earth
really
Spirit
cool.
almost.
Yeah, it's like an Earth Spirit kick, kind of. 12-second cooldown is ridiculously low. I don't know what the mana cost is either. It doesn't say here, but this could work. Tusk for me is more of a utility support than a carry in competitive play, at least. So it's an item he could consider getting after, say, face boots, maybe a blink or something, and maybe force staff or any auras or tanking up, whatever. There's multiple builds of this hero. my favorite thing about this change is the snowball while moving. It's super cool that you don't have to load everyone in and then you roll, that you can like acquire a target. If your teammates are ahead of you, you just pull them in along the way. And I guess, yeah, with the speed being constant, you kind of know you're going to arrive at your target. I like this a lot, actually.
This hero is becoming so
cool.
complicated now. He used to be like very simple. You snowball in, you walrus punch, you get kills. Now the snowball has to be controlled. You have to click it twice. You have to add people in. You have an extra ability if you get Aghanim's Scepter. I'm not saying
they
it's
can
bad.
enter the snowball too, right? They can just click the snowball.
Yes.
To
it
go
just
in.
doesn't
So,
auto put them in, I think.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if this, for me as a
I feel
as
like
a
he's
player,
less complex than last version. Like now you know what the snowball is, how fast it is.
Well, but
Like
that's
before,
not the complicated part. I don't know. For me, as if I was playing this hero, I wouldn't find it as fun as the original version, not the last patch. I'm talking about like a year ago or 2 years ago. I don't find them as
because
fun.
it's so difficult to combine with players you don't play with regularly.
Yes.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
I mean, I think we talked about this at the TI4 qualifiers last year when they originally put in the new snowball. Theoretically speaking, this hero could completely be broken, right? If played correctly. Very high skill cap. But I think in a pub scene, it's just it loses its luster for me. I don't know if that's for everybody else though.
I could agree with that, I guess.
I guess. Let's get to the next hero for God's sake. Undying. This one makes no sense for me. Soul Rip is now considered 1 damage instance instead of on the enemy. I guess that's for like refraction and treant, living armor or something. Remove Tombstone zombie targeting from Soul Rip, which makes Soul Rip way worse. The zombies now require 1 attack.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, tell me.
Unless I'm misinterpreting this, it just means you can't target your zombies, because you really don't want to target them with Soul Rip, so you don't misclick them, right?
Ah.
Tombstone zombie targeting. I guess it still considers them units to draw Soul Rip from, but yet you just can't click a zombie to heal it, because it's useless, right?
Well, the way I read it was
so.
that it doesn't count as a unit for the Soul Rip, which would make it garbage, right?
Yeah, I hope that's not the case. That would be an ultra nerf. That's completely unwarranted. So I doubt that. I really doubt it.
Now that I think you're right then. That's good. All right, now I'm happy about Undying. Tell me about the zombies 1 hit. Is that for like, does that count for counter
That's a mega buff. That's a super buff, actually. This means you have to hit them. You can't kill them with Quill Spray. You can't kill them with Wave of Terror. Bristleback is the classic counterpick to Undying. You can't just do that anymore. You have to hit them. And since it says 1 attack, the only things that work are regular physical attacks, and if you have like any sort of modified attacks, I guess. But it has to be a physical damage source. So that is a really big buff. It makes it way more reliable that you get multiple zombies to build up, which in turn synergizes with Soul Rip. So yeah, to me this is a big buff. Apart from the first thing, Soul Rip is considered 1 damage instance. Is generally is that a buff in any situation that it's 1 damage instance instead of X?
A buff?
I think not. I think this is only a nerf. So this is just so you can't like completely remove refraction, for example, with Soul Rip.
Which I think is fair. I mean, TA could use a buff like that. Not that was
it's okay.
A huge thing, but okay. I'm glad to hear that. I definitely thought that was a nerf. That's awesome. All right, Ursa. Oh boy. Reworked Enrage. So before you would just activate it and it had like, I don't remember what the uptime was, but it was very big.
Yeah.
Now when you activate it, Ursa goes into a frenzy, causing him to take 80% less damage from any source, and for his attacks to deal up to 3 times the Fury Swipe damage, and it removes any existing debuffs upon cast. But it only lasts 4 seconds.
I think this is sick.
What was I saying
is really
earlier
fucking good.
about a skill?
Synergy with Centaur Stampede.
That's right.
I think.
So you Centaur Stampede, 70% damage mitigation. Then when it's over, Ursa casts this.
Yeah, that's a really
He's
cool combo.
He's unkillable.
He's actually super difficult.
I think the biggest part about this skill is the remove of debuffs, because you can kite this hero so easily. It's just like that freaking the bear that can't quite get his hand in the cookie jar, right? He's slowed by everything. Yeah. Everybody has something. But now he has a way to get out of it other than BKB. I think that's really good.
It seems like a big focus of this version is damage mitigation and dispelling. That's something that's been recurrent. It also comes, I think there's even more with items later on with focused on that. So I don't know. I have this feeling that some strategies are just going to be super broken, but that it'll be changed. Like you have to, if you introduce fundamentally new things like this, you throw out the patch, you give it a shot, and people get to get a feel for how good it is. And this is probably the right timing before TI and before even TI qualifiers to balance out the version. This is something that the beta testers could play this version for 2 months, and they wouldn't discover some of the like super broken combinations or strategies that pro teams will figure out. So this is, I love this change. I'm a big Ursa fan. He's one of my favorite carries to play. I freaking love the hero, and I think this is in most cases better than the old one. It reduces your farming rate a bit, I guess, but way better for fighting.
Okay, moving on to Venomancer. The Gale tick damage. You actually have something. I think that's the biggest deal. Is level 1. There's actually tick damage now.
Yeah.
Is that enough to cancel blinks? 10 damage a second?
Yes, I think it is.
Okay.
It should be.
Viper Strike cooldown reduced at the earlier just level 1.
Level 1.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Visage. Oh, I'm actually ruining this. I'm spoiling everything. Visage. Gravekeeper's Cloak. Recharge time from 6 to 4. But the bigger deal, familiars no longer have health. Instead, they require a certain amount of attacks to be killed.
Yeah,
okay,
that's a buff for sure.
Okay, so I was thinking 2 ways here. This is a nerf in the fact that supports will technically be doing more damage than they used to on familiars, but heroes that completely destroyed Visage familiars, which the main one I can think of as Axe, and I guess is Bristle the same way with Quill Spray?
Yep, Quill Spray too.
So that's no longer like it's similar to the zombie thing, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of the exact same thing actually, just in a bigger scale. I want to say vast majority of cases the new familiars are better. 4 attacks during the team fight is something that's difficult for a lot of teams to pull out. And if you're saying supports are better, sure, but they have really bad attack speed anyway, so they need to get 4 hits off. I don't know. Of course, there's cases where it's worse, but I want to say like 90% of the time better than old.
You combine Visage with Undying and then put Frozen Sigil in the middle.
There's some really cool
like
pushing strats you can do with this. It's actually really cool.
And then also the Gyrocopter homing missile. All you need is Frozen Sigil. It makes all of them amazing, right?
Fantastic strat.
Warlock. Fatal Bond's cast range increased by 100. Fatal Bond's cast time or decreased by
Mega
a lot.
reduced.
And the Golem's health regeneration increased.
Nice. I think especially second point is relevant.
Yeah, Fatal Bonds is never picked up. I think it's an amazing skill.
I still think Warlock is a really good hero, and I think this version is going to suit him a lot better than the previous one, so I think we're going to see more picks, and more teams are going to start using it, and then buffing him even further is going to help out, of course. This is a cool hero.
Alright, Weaver. The swarm duration rescaled to a constant 16, which is equivalent to the old level 2. Swarm damage is now 20, which is equivalent to level 2 as well. Swarm attack rate from an attack every 1.35 seconds to 0.95 at level 4. I think this is a skill a lot of people just left at level 1, if I'm not mistaken, for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Geminate attack now launches a second projectile 0.25 seconds after the initial one fire instead of after the impacting target.
Makes way more sense.
And Geminate attack no longer has a range limit. I remember there was a bug. I forget who made a video on it. Is that a fix for it, or is this something else?
Sorry, you missed that joke you just made.
Wait,
okay.
Oh, the bug? I know.
Okay,
Pun
what was
intended.
it? Yeah, I remember that. It was from Nigma No Name's clip, I think, where Geminate attack kept proccing globally because the target got far enough away, and then they introduced a limit as like a hotfix, and now they found a better way. Like, this to me makes way more sense.
Okay.
The thing is, I believe Geminate attack goes on cooldown when the shot is launched, not when your first attack hits, right? So if in the past you would attack a hero and he would blink, or like move, right? Use Force Staff, whatever. Your Geminate attack wouldn't go on cooldown before the initial shot hit. Like, with the travel speed of these projectiles, I feel like Geminate attack's just flat out better, because it goes on cooldown faster, so you get it again faster in turn. Right? You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is definitely a buff. I want to say the Swarm is also way better. The higher levels of it having faster attack rate means the minus armor gets procced faster. That is every time it hits, not every second, I believe. It's every attack you take from the bug.
Yeah, I think so.
Gives you minus armor. So, definitely, in my opinion, a way better Swarm skill. And then the Aghanim Scepter upgrade is...
Yeah, tell everybody what that is.
I don't know. It's interesting.
Well, read it. There's some people that only
yeah.
listen to us, so they...
Oh, I see. Okay, so yeah, reduces the cooldown of time-lapse to 20 seconds, and then it allows it to target allied heroes with 1,000 cast range. So you can actually send allied heroes 5 seconds back in time when they get engaged on. I still think this is like ultra situational because Weaver doesn't want this item.
This is Alchemist,
he needs to get
man.
strong for himself.
This has Alchemist name
tier
all over
ags. Agreed 100%. And
Okay.
still better than the Legion Commander one, at least. So. But they all are.
Depending on the build. How dare you. Wind Ranger, Shackleshot cast point has been decreased by 50%.
Yeah, halved from 0.3 to 0.15. That's a big buff, and I feel like this is perfectly fine. I want to see more Wind Ranger. It makes Shackleshot a lot more reliable for you, since the enemy has. When you start shooting Shackleshot, there's an animation, and the enemy will react by starting to move away from trees. You have less of a time. You barely even get to react to 0.15 second of animation, so way easier to land shackles. That's
Winter Wyvern, now enabled in Captain's mode.
Da, 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 da.
It's actually interesting that they do this when they rework a skill. I find that
Yeah.
what I think about that before even looking at it, and we'll talk about it, is that the new ult is actually worse. That's what I think when they put something like this in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been reworked. Those that are cursed to attack their ally now take 70% less damage from all sources. So really you have to focus on the one that they're focusing as well. Unless you have something to counter it, I don't know. Area of effect increased from 350 to 400, so a little bit of a buff there. Duration increased a bit, so a buff there. Cooldown nerfed.
Yeah,
So
increased.
the ult is
nerf
worse,
there.
essentially.
I feel like it's worse in the vast, like, once again, you can't say always, but vast majority of cases,
Yeah.
this is worse. Yeah, I think it's important to take this approach when you put a hero like this into Captain's mode, because it's a very fundamentally unique hero. It has two very unique abilities. Cold Embrace, which blocks all physical damage for 4 seconds, like a mini Guardian Angel on one target, but with very low cooldown. And then it has the whole enemy taunt, which no other hero has. So
Yeah.
I like the idea of taking a little bit of a passive approach to that. But then it actually gets buffed apart from that. Arctic Burn is dispellable, is of course a nerf, but increases the damage per second from 6% of health to 8%. Oh, never mind, it's from pure to magic,
Yep.
so it evens out.
Yep.
That's right. And Arctic Burn no longer pierces spell immunity, so overall pretty much the same as before. Splinter Blast speed increased. Wow, that's hard to say. From 500 to 650, so that's a buff. However, the debuff is dispellable, the slow from that. And then finally, Cold Embrace behaves as normal regeneration instead of 0.1 interval heals. I guess that means it heals. I don't know what normal regeneration, how that works with
I don't
intervals,
get that
but
one at all.
I think it just heals faster. Like there's even more than, instead of 10 intervals, it's like, I don't know if normal regeneration is 100 times a second or something, but
Well,
I'll have to see it in play. I'm not sure. But
so overall,
as far as
the
spell
hero
interaction,
is
I think
technically worse than before, right?
I would say so, yes.
So in all likelihood, and of course we could be wrong, but I think the hero is probably not that good, just based on nerfs. The fact that they just put him into Captain's mode right away.
Super cool situational pick. That's what I look.
Yeah.
I look at this hero and I see a support that you will pick sometimes, and it will be the best pick in the world, and the rest of the games you will not really want it. That's what it feels like for me.
All right, a really good counter to Troll, which is now nerfed. So.
Yay! It comes at the right time.
Wraith King. All right, I effing love this. Aghanim Scepter now for Wraith King. Wraith King. That's another hero coming soon. Allies who are near Wraith King within 1200 AoE, when they die, they become Wraiths for 5 seconds, delaying their death. They can continue attacking, casting, etc. When the duration ends, the hero dies, and the credit for the kill goes to whoever landed the actual killing blow. This is awesome.
Support Wraith King,
Yes.
Anyone?
Yes.
That
you don't
is
even need an
super cool.
alchemist for this one, man. It's great.
No, this one is really cool. Nice idea. Again, it's one of those fundamental concepts that you just have to try and play. Maybe it's broken as fuck, actually, but you don't know until you try. It's just very difficult to assess, but I love the idea, and I hope they keep the idea, but if it's too strong, you nerf the duration, for example. So you change it from 5 to 4, or 5 to 3, or whatever. But
Well, I don't know if the duration's the problem. Okay,
it's
so this
really
is what I'm envisioning for being the most broken. So the enemy team, any hero with a huge cooldown, if you kill them, they come back to life. If they didn't get their ult off, like let's say an Enigma, he can still get his ult off full duration. Silencer,
But-
same thing. That's instant cast.
yeah,
Right.
but you can... The Wraiths, I am assuming the Wraiths are fully targetable, so they can also be stunned and silenced. I'm gonna assume that. Else it's like
Well,
fucking broken, I
Oh,
think.
even so, that's fine. Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's still very
they
good.
perma-stun a hero, then they have to perma-stun his Wraith for 5 seconds. I mean, Silencer's going to get his ult off in that
Yeah.
case, I think.
Sure.
This
Yeah,
is
it is
huge.
really good.
I mean, it's
It is
really
really good.
freaking good. All right. And last but not least for the heroes, Zeus, Thunder God's Wrath area vision reduced by 500, and Thunder God's Wrath sometimes hitting invisible units depending on the order of the player slots. You know what that is, right?
Yeah.
Because it's hilarious.
So, yeah. So the way Thunder God's Wrath was coded, it hits the enemy team based on color from left to right. So if you're Radiant with Zeus, you would hit pink, then gray, etc. Now, that would mean that if, say, gray was playing Ricky and he was next to pink, then if gray was invisible, he would still be hit by the damage because the pink hero getting hit by by Thunder God's Wrath first would give True Sight, and then gray would get hit. So this hits all targets at the exact same time, so that isn't there anymore. Like, that's one of those really funny carryovers from Dota 1 that's just super ultra random and doesn't have any place in the game.
I'm surprised that even
glad they
carried
fixed
over
it.
at all. That was the weirdest part.
Yeah, I don't. I think it carried over. I'm pretty sure that's how it worked in Dota 1. So, yeah.
Okay.
Good stuff.
All right.
Items.
Now on to the items. We have a bunch of new ones. One is called the Enchanted Mango. No, this is not an April Fool's joke. It's a consumable item. Costs 150 gold. It provides, while you have it in your inventory, 1 HP regeneration per second. But when you consume it, the mango, the very delicious mango, instantly restores 150 mana. Can be force-fed to an ally. I can only imagine what that looks like. Just
it doesn't
eat
say
this
force.
mango.
It doesn't say force fed. It just says fed. But yeah.
Okay, multiple mangoes do not stack into one slot. Thoughts?
I don't know about this item. I'm not a I was already skeptical when Magic Stick came out back in the day because I was like, potions, like instant one-shot health or mana does not really fit. But Magic Stick became a very integral part of the game and makes some really cool plays. So I feel like it's strange that we get one for mana, but not one for health. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just odd.
I mean, yes, I think there's more healing spells in the game than mana regeneration, and also the equivalent of a mana pot is a tango, kind of, right? Where the health salve is kind of the equivalent of this, almost. I mean, obviously it's not instant cast, but it's the closest comparison I can come up with.
Yeah, I guess the game might have been missing a way of restoring mana quickly. I guess that's what you're getting at, that there was no way of doing that. So yeah, I can see that. It just seems like, it seems fairly arbitrary, the cost, the fact that it gives 1 HP regen in your inventory for 150 gold. Think about how good that is, actually. This costs, so a Ring of Health costs 300, or sorry, Ring of Regen costs 350, right?
Right.
And that gives 2 HP regen. This is better than a Ring of Regen in its slot, and you can eat it.
That's kind of how it works though in this game. Like, a branch is technically more efficient than an ultimate orb, right?
Sure, but it's like, you know, I feel like it's maybe too much at once. I think this item's too good. That's what I feel like. But
really? Okay.
Yeah.
I
but
think it's cool. I don't know. I don't know what to think.
Heroes that really benefit from this are heroes like, say, that often run dry on mana early in the game. Wraith King, SUNSfan, that kind of stereotypical hero can really benefit from it, and who also use the HP regen lane.
Well, it benefits a hero that doesn't want to be out of the lane to wait for a mana pot.
Yeah, it's an indirect way of going a little bit away from bottle as well on some heroes. I think this is an alternative where the thing is you do consume it though, right? So you use 150 gold when you use it for the mana. So of course you still pay, but. Yeah.
I'm not sure
I
what
think
to think,
a lot
but
of games you can get by with like 2 or 3 mangoes instead of a bottle, maybe. Then of course you can't bottle a rune and stuff. It has benefits.
The best part of this item is that people will actually be starting to say mango in Dota.
Mango me.
I'm guessing it's tango, but with mana.
Yeah, that's the idea. That's the idea. Yeah.
All right, Lotus Orb, a new item formed from Perseverance, Plate Mail, and a recipe. Here you can see the stats it provides. The active is called Echo Shell. When you target an allied unit, it dispels negative buffs, normal dispel, not stuns, and applies an Echo Shell buff for 6 seconds. While the Echo Shell buff is active, it recasts all targeted spells back at its caster. This does not block the spell, it mirrors it back. So we saw some GIFs and videos of this where if you get sheeped, the person that sheeps you will also get sheeped. So it's not like a blade mail as far as damage. It does do the damage if there is damage, but it literally will recast the spell at the person casting it.
Does it redirect onto allies too?
You mean if it's an AoE?
No, let's say I cast Echo Shell on your hero and I'm Omni Knight and I repel you. Do I get repelled too? Because it says applying it, the Echo Shell, it recasts all targeted spells back at its caster. I'm gonna assume it works on friendly casts too.
I haven't seen that yet. Yeah, you might be
That's
right.
insane.
That.
I feel like this item fundamentally is super cool, but might be totally broken.
It has
like,
the same targeting rules as Linken's as well, which for me is super arbitrary. Like some things that I think should work through Linken's don't, and then vice versa. For an example, Black Hole obviously won't work with this item at all. But Impale from Lion will redirect back to Lion. So I'm not sure. This is the item everybody's talking about, though. Everybody's very excited about this.
And of course, the stats it gives: 5 HP regen, 125% mana regen, 10 damage, and 10 armor. For its price, the passive components are not like that good, right? It's a 4,000 gold item, and out of all the things it gives, the only thing that's really important is the 10 armor and the mana regen. Like 10 damage is nothing for 4,000 gold. 5 HP regen is nothing. So this is an item you're gonna get mainly on, I think, a rich position for support to support your carry, and in turn, if your support benefits from the armor, it's really good. But I don't know how many cores would want to pick this up. Maybe some offlaners, tanky offlaners that need the armor, could actually use this very nicely.
Yeah, perhaps.
I guess.
Either way, very cool item that could be broken. We don't know. We'll see. Next is the Glimmer Cape, a new item. This is such a Han patch, man. There's so many crazy things. Glimmer Cape, an item that is formed with the cloak and a shadow amulet. Gives 30 attack speed and 20% magic resistance. The active is called Glimmer. It targets an allied unit and when you target an allied unit, it makes it turn invisible after a 0.4 second fade time. While invisible, it gains 66% magic resistance, lasts for 5 seconds. The invisible unit is allowed to move during the 5 seconds, but attacking or casting a spell will cause 0.4 second fade time to trigger again. I don't understand this item, really. I mean, I understand what it is, but is it good?
I think this is super good against specific lineups. The 66% magic resistance that you could cast on an ally for 5 seconds, and then they can do anything they want. Like, the magic resistance stays while invisible. Okay, so you have to stay invisible. Okay, so you can, like, if you time this and you drop it on them, it's 0.4. So if you, let's say, for example, how do I explain this? Let's say Alina Yules you, okay? And then your teammate casts this item on you the moment you land from the Yules. Lena's stun will damage you, but then she can't full combo you. Like, then you take no damage from the Dragon Slave Laguna, so that's pretty cool. It's a very cool chasing item for certain assassins who can, like, you get like in and out of vision all the time, and you can, like, run people down. They can't really counterplay you because every time they try to target you with a spell, you disappear again. So that's really, it's a situational item that's very cool on some specific heroes. But another bonus part about it that we haven't talked about, it's actually disassemblable. So you can use this as a build-up into Shadowblade if you want.
Oh, that's
and either
true. It doesn't require
you can sell the cloak, or you can use the cloak into a hood if you want. But that's very situational, I think. But like, I can imagine quite a few heroes. Let's say you're playing Slark, right? And you want to go for a Shadowblade. You go for the Glimmer Cape first, and you fight a bit, and then when you feel like you've got enough value out of it and you want your Shadowblade, you sell the Glimmer Cape, you disassemble it, sell the cloak, and buy the Shadowblade. And your net loss of gold from building this, then disassembling it, and then getting a Shadowblade is 275. That's half the cloak. That's all you lose. Or you could just keep the cloak. I think this is a pretty cool
cloak was buffed
item.
too, so.
Yeah, that's true. The cloak itself also buffed, so yeah. We'll get to that.
That's an interesting item. Guardian Greaves. A new item. Formed with Arcane Boots, a mechanism, and a recipe, basically Chen. It gives 55 move speed, 250 mana, 5 to all stats, 5 to armor. The passive provides 2 armor and 4 HP regeneration within, I think is it 900 AoE?
Yeah, and it's an aura for everyone, the 2 armor and 4 health. It's not just the health that's regeneration, I guess. Yeah.
And when a target's health is lower than 20%, it instead provides 15 armor and 15 health regen, which sounds insane. The active is called Mend. When you activate it, restores 250 health and 160 mana to nearby allies. Removes negative debuffs from caster upon cast.
Yeah, only yourself.
Right.
Get purged. 45-second cooldown. Yeah, this is another purge to go with the game.
This is the most expensive boots now.
These are really cool, but they're also very expensive. So I think this is something, in some cases, if you have a very rich position 4, he can get it. Some position 3s, I think, will love this item. I'm thinking a hero like Tidehunter who wants to maybe get a mech anyway and arcanes. Then it's a very natural build-up to invest the extra 1650 to get that Guardian Aura for your team.
Do you think it's a little awkward?
And of course, what's
you
really...
have to use the mech and the arcane boots at the same time. What if you just want arcane boots?
Then you can't do that. That's the choice.
Isn't that a little awkward?
I don't know. I think it's okay. That late into the game, you generally don't use arcane boots that much.
Yeah, I guess that's
or
true.
they're not as important. But the cool thing about a hero like Tidehunter with this is that if you're playing a tanky core that the enemy team doesn't want to kill, you know you're going to get value out of the Guardian Aura for the rest of your team. So you're like a big tanky frontliner, and everyone just rallies around you. I think this is going to be a very good item for pushing as well, since it's kind of difficult to burst your team down, or well, rather, it's difficult to deal sustainable damage when they're low. So you need to burst them, since Guardian Aura will keep them alive.
What do you think about the idea that the reason this was put, or one of the reasons this was put in, is because IceFrog's so sick of non-support or non-traditional people picking up mech? Because now you have to think about it like Chen. He already gets these items. He might as well get the full recipe, right?
Yeah, this is a good
Shadow
item for
Fiend,
Chen.
if he gets a mech, let's say, he's not going to get arcane boots, ever. So he's not going to get this item.
No,
It's
but
like a
the mech is
direct
still
link to
valuable.
that, right?
Mech is still valuable. Like, even if you can play the game without Guardian Greaves, you don't have to upgrade it.
Oh,
Like,
sure.
I still think mech on Shadow Fiend is going to be a build. It's still really good.
I don't want
But
to see it. I don't like
I
it.
see.
Okay?
Okay, this next item is so weird.
Okay. Next item is called Moon Shard. Yeah, this was... Before we talk about it, I don't like this item. So, you take 2 Hyperstones, you buy a $300 or 300 gold recipe, and it gives you 120 attack speed. Sounds good. The passive is called Shade Sight. It grants 250 bonus night vision when in your inventory. Works against Night Stalker's darkness, so it could be considered a very expensive way to counter the Night Stalker.
Yeah.
Are you lagging?
No?
Oh, okay. And this is the part I don't like. You can use it, so it can be consumed to gain a permanent 60 attack speed. It does not stack. So essentially you're paying 4,300. I mean, this is obviously for very late game if you just have too much gold, I guess. You spend 4,300 gold. You could technically get 120 attack speed, and then you consume it, you lose half of it. That's what that means. What do you think?
I think it's interesting to start getting some...
I knew you were lagging.
Hello?
You're a lagger. He's disconnecting now. And coming back.
I'm back.
You're lagging. Call me on the other program.
Okay.
You got it. It's coming. He's gonna do it. There we go. Hello?
Hello.
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 Alright, we're good.
We're good?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so I think it's an interesting concept of having an item that you can buy when you have full inventory. Like, there's quite a lot of games nowadays where heroes get 6 slotted and they have like nothing to go for anymore. Now there's like one more item you can get at least. So I think that idea is cool. I just don't know if this is the way to go about it. And you didn't mention, by the way, the attack speed buff does not work on illusions, which is important. Because then you can't just get this like on a PL and then all your illusions start getting insane because of your base. Like, it's only your actual hero that gets attack speed. I don't know. It seems like it's a very weird item. It's, again, one of those concepts you have no idea until you see it in game.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, we've been, like
Weird.
you said...
It's like my least favorite new item, I guess. But the idea itself is cool.
I mean, we've been seeing a lot of these items are late game oriented, so this is extreme late game oriented. You eat one of your items. Instead of putting it on the Courier and using it every now and then, you just use it. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Silver Edge is another new item formed with the Shadow Blade and Sage and a recipe. Gives you 32 damage, 30 attack speed, 16 strength. Obviously, you get the lesser maim from Sage. The Invis, when using it, now deals 225 damage and also applies Break to disable passive abilities. and it reduces the target's damage output. All damage type, that includes any spells, like for Alina, for example, it reduces by 40% for 5 seconds. When attacking through it, it also cannot be evaded.
Yeah. I don't know. This item is weird for me.
I love this item. How dare you?
It's it's like an all-in item, right? You pay 5,200, and if you don't hit your Shadow Walk backstab, it sucks. Like it's awful value if you don't land it.
Why? Why is it awful value?
It's the Shadow Walk that applies the really good part of the item, which is 24-second cooldown, right?
Well, think of it like this. A hero that's already going to get Shadow Blade, you're kind of stuck with that item, right? And eventually you want to sell it, but now you don't have to sell it because you can actually upgrade it to be a little bit better,
like,
and it's really good. I think it's really good.
I'm just saying the only thing, this item is not worth its price at all unless you hit the backstab. Like you have to hit the backstab. And as games go later,
that argument though. You can say that about so many items.
Blade, no, but the thing is, Shadow Blade toward later in the game, a big part of the value of Shadow Blade is how you can traverse the map faster and you can escape, right? Mm-hmm. So the extra component that you buy here, the Sanj and the upgrade to the recipe, needs to be like, it's an extra 2,400 gold you pay that you invest into this item instead of getting something else. The passive parts you get from the 2,400 are really not that impressive. You get, 2 damage and 16 strength and lesser maim. That's what you pay for.
Okay.
Or maybe it's just 16 strength and lesser maim, right? So 2,400 gold for that strength and a little bit of maim. Not good. So I think this item is really cool, but it's also very situational and can be countered so hard, whereas a lot of other items in late game, let's say like anything really, any other item is less situational. Big items to mention: Abyssal Blade, you need to get close, but you can cast it at any time. Hex, long range, can cast it at any time. Orchid can cast it at any time. This one, if you get caught in your Shadow Walk, you're screwed. Like then it actually does nothing because the break depends on the backstab landing, which is a super cool concept. I'm just saying it may sound better than it really is.
Okay, I can see your point.
Because of that.
The only thing I don't like about the item
it's a nice idea.
is you can't disassemble, I'm guessing, since they don't mention it. That's
a
pretty big
it looks
deal.
like you can. Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to mention that too. Yeah, you're right.
But I like this. I still like it.
It's very important. It's very important that the backstab can't miss.
Well, you have to understand. I'm looking at this item at least from a pub perspective. This is a great item for pubs.
For sure, it's really good.
We'll see.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's like the Oracle thing, where it's like this is definitely,
yeah,
or the reverse Oracle, where like this definitely would have been better in competitive, but worse in pubs. It's the other way around. Maybe.
All right, next item, and a lot of these you'll be seeing a theme, guys, that items can be upgraded now, which is great because the thing nowadays everybody has like too much gold, it seems, compared to like 2 years ago. There's heroes with like 2 items after a 60-minute game. That's not the case anymore. So I think this stuff like this is definitely needed. So Solar Crest is another new item. It requires Medallion of Courage and a Talisman of Evasion. No recipe. I'm guessing it's disassemblable. Yeah, can be disassembled.
Yeah.
Gives you 10 armor, 75% mana regen, 30% evasion. When you activate it, you lose the Solar Crest armor and evasion. When targeting an ally, grants them the 10 armor and the 30% evasion. When targeting an enemy, removes 10 armor and applies a 30% miss for 7 seconds. Pretty cool.
This is really, really good. I think out of all the new items, this is the least situational. This seems super good for me. Maybe Lotus Orb and... No, I want to say this is an item you're going to be seeing in most games, because a lot of teams already want to get the medallion for Roshing, and this is basically like a super medallion. So lots of position 4s will love to get this item. Having an item that actually applies a mischance on enemies is huge. This seems like a great item. And I want to say, just from the values it has, I actually think this might be, out of the very new concept, this might be the most balanced design from the get-go. I think the values of this actually sound pretty good for what you pay.
Yep,
so
I think it's really good.
Good stuff. This is cool.
And I believe, the last new item is called, is it Octoroon Core?
Octoroon Core.
What is Octoroon? Is that like a fruit or something?
I don't know, it's octopus.
It sounds like a tangerine or something. I don't know. Okay. Either way, it requires a Mystic Staff and a Soul Booster, so very expensive, but it's nice to see another item with Soul Booster as as one of the components.
This is how you used to build Aghanim Scepter, by the way.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's the old Axe recipe.
Oh, I didn't remember it being Mystic Staff, though. I remember Soul Booster. Oh,
I think old Axe, wasn't it Mystic Staff?
You might be right. You might be right. It's been so long. I know it was Soul Booster. It's a walk down memory lane. Anyway, provides 25 intelligence, 450 HP, 400 mana, plus 4 HP regeneration, and 100% mana regeneration. The passive, it's cooldown reduction. It reduces all cooldowns by 25%, which I assume includes items like Refresher Orb. It also has a passive spell lifesteal, so similar to Lifestealer's Open Wounds. Restores health for a percentage of any damage dealt from spells. 25% from heroes, 5% from creeps. Basically, this is an item that Zeus wants.
And it's super good on Leshrac.
Oh, that's true.
It's gotta be
man. Yeah.
It's actually god tier on Leshrac. I have a feeling this item needs to be nerfed, but it's an interesting thing to try out, right? This is something very new we talked about. What are the new things introduced in this version that we've never had in Dota before? Cooldown reduction, I think we've never had. We have it on Coddle's Chakra Magic, and we have it on this item, percentage-based. Spell Lifesteal, okay, we have had Spell Lifesteal before, but it was only on Lifestealers.
And it was an
so it's the only Spell Lifesteal. Yeah, and this one is actually where you build it on yourself. And it's not just one target, but it's just a general thing you have running constantly. I feel like what is really cool about this item is that it promotes playing cores in late game that are not physical DPS.
Yep, exactly.
I love seeing more of those heroes. The ones that come to mind for me, of course, are the Core Leshrac is a very, very historically cool intelligence core. This item, like you said, extremely good on a hero like Zeus. It's good for a core Lina. Who else can we think of that this would be really good on? What's a really good core caster? I need to look this up very quickly to get an idea. It's fairly cool for Disruptor, but I don't think you would want to do that.
No.
And is this an item for Storm? Oh, it's good for Tinker too, by the way, I would say.
Yeah.
He deals a lot of hero damage. Well, actually maybe not so much. I think about it. I don't know. Like really, really cool.
It's very.
We'll have to wait and see. There's going to be some ideas. Maybe Venomancer could use this too.
This feels very Han-like as well, which is, again, not a bad thing. I think taking things from other games is exactly what we should be doing. Whatever actually ends up working, making the game better for everybody, should do. Doesn't matter where it comes from. I'm sure the same can be said for other games that I don't know about, but the only one I do know is Han. And is this 7 new items? I think this is the most items I've ever seen in a patch in my life for Dota. 5,
6, 7, 8.
8? Okay.
If you include the Enchanted Mango.
I do. It's a great it's a delicious item. Okay. So we're getting close to 3 hours, which is a real accomplishment for us. The rest
I think we've done longer, actually.
Have we?
Haven't we? Yeah, we had a really long one. We had like a 4-hour one at one point.
Man.
We split it into like 3 parts. I'm not sure.
All right, item additions. So Observer and Sentry wards can now stack into one inventory slot. Double-clicking toggles which ward is currently active.
Love
Great for support.
This is really, really nice. It's actually very often a problem for supports that they run out of inventory slots because they need a TP slot, they need Ob slot, they need a Sentry slot, and then they have, like, say, a Magic Stick and Boots. Then you're already 5 out of 6 slots. And, like you said, supports are starting to get more items. This is a really good change, and it's actually funny. Like a lot of the changes that I see in Dota recently, I'm like, how the hell did we not think about that before? There's just so many convenience changes.
Excuse me, I've told you not this specifically, but close to this, and you agreed with my
wards.
Yeah, I said that there should be a 7th inventory slot that wards go into automatically. So
I could totally agree with that as well.
And
like,
that could be something we see eventually. Like this could be the first step, but this might be good enough as well. I'm not sure. This is really good though. Really happy to see it. And out of the blue, I mean a lot of this is out of the blue, but this is just out of nowhere. Boots of Travel upgraded version can now be upgraded by purchasing the recipe again and allows you to target and teleport to allied heroes. So Tinker.
Ultra late game rat mode item.
Tinker, anybody that buys Boots of Travel that likes to push. Naga Siren, I mean, whoever. It's great. I think that's pretty cool.
It makes for some really exciting ways of ending the game where you have a hero who can get into the enemy base unnoticed without going with the creep wave, and then the other heroes port on them, and suddenly you're like 5 heroes in the enemy base.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
All right.
But it's like ultra situational. I think this is like the most situational item in the patch.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't think so.
It's expensive. It's 2,000 gold just to be able to port on a hero. Like, how often do you really want it?
Well, a lot. How many games have we seen where a core has way too much gold and not enough inventory slots. Now you can buy an item and eat it, and now you can upgrade the boots
Yeah,
that have
yeah.
already been upgraded.
That's what I'm saying. But for me, what I mean is this is like a seventh item in most cases to
Oh,
make
sure.
okay to make
Yeah,
my
yeah.
point clear. I feel like this is is situational in the sense that it's ultra luxury. That doesn't mean it doesn't get picked up often, but it will be picked up last.
Okay. Yeah.
It's very rare that you have, let's say, you have a core that gets caught out of position while he's split pushing, and then you're like, oh, I totally wish we could port 1 or 2 heroes onto him right now so they could die together with him to this gank. Like, I
Do you
don't know.
think that Tinker
Maybe.
would upgrade this
Maybe I'm underrating this.
earlier than normal other heroes?
Not really. He generally uses the wave. Perhaps I'm totally underestimating this because it's a new concept that I'm not even imagining how this can work. Maybe I'm underrating it. I just don't feel like it's that good.
All right. Now for the last list, which is item changes, which is quite a bit. Skull Basher, strength increased by 2, but damage has been reduced by 15. But at the same time, Bash now deals 60 bonus damage. Did it not deal any damage before?
Nope.
Okay. And the cooldown has been increased slightly. Okay. Same kind of things apply to the Abyssal Blade. The damage has been reduced as a result of the Skull Bashers being reduced.
It's actually identical.
Yeah, it's identical.
It's
Energy booster. What? If you want to talk about it, let me know.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just saying the way it was changed. It has the same bash damage, same damage reduction, and same cooldown. So it's the same build-up, and yeah, you get the 60 damage and you get the active for buying this.
Energy booster now is 100 less. Arcane Boots is obviously now 100 less because of that, and the replenish radius is 900. You'll be seeing that number a lot, and the replenish no longer costs 35 mana to activate. So the activator will
very
get it
big
for free.
buff to Arcane
Yes,
Boots.
very large buff. Bloodstone recipe increased by 100 to make, to counteract the energy booster being 100 less.
Yep.
Armlet of Mordigian is still complete garbage in my opinion. Attack speed is increased by 10. Unholy Strength no longer gives that 10 attack speed, which is fine since it's passively there all the time. The Unholy Strength gain period is now 0.6 instead of 0.7. This item's garbage, man. Like, it's only good on like 2 or 3 heroes, and ever since they changed it from it ramps up the strength, it's just been terrible.
Well, you need to be a little bit. This is a special item because it used to be super good when it was like the instant toggle, right, where you just got full health immediately.
Yep.
And this toning it down by 0.1 second might not sound like a lot, but it's a step in the direction that brings back Armlet, where Armlet toggling is way easier and you get way more value out of it fast. So I think this could have been made to 0.5
0.3.
Instead of 0.6. I think it's a little bit too cautious, but
I agree.
we'll see.
Okay, Quelling Blade. A lot of changes to this bad boy. Change from full damage bonus to base bonus damage, so that's obviously a nerf. The Quell damage bonus has been increased to counteract that a bit. The Quell no longer.
So it's actually better in lane. That's
Better
important to remember.
What do you mean? For
Because in the start, when you buy a Quelling Blade, you only have your base damage anyway.
Oh,
so now it's
yeah,
better.
yeah. You mean at the beginning of the game in lane? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
The Quell no longer deals bonus damage to Roshan, which is something a lot of people were complaining about. I mean, why would an item that costs 225 allow you to kill Roshan 32% faster?
Yeah.
Kind of ridiculous. The Chop active ability now kills wards immediately instead of dealing 100 damage, which I think is fine. This is another Han thing, by the way.
Sense.
The Chop active ability range increased to 450. I think it's good.
Yeah, that's
and
fine.
to go along with that, something out of nowhere, the Battle Fury now requires a Quelling Blade. And remember, you can buy Battle Fury directly from the base now. You can buy the full Perseverance at the side shop if you want to. The Quell bonus is now 60% for melee heroes and 25% for range. That's when you upgrade to Battle Fury, obviously. The attack damage is reduced to counteract that a bit by 10, and the cleave radius is increased by 30. Anti-Mage is so fucking happy right now. This is so good for the heroes that already pick up Battle Fury.
Yeah, for farming, but not for fighting, right? It's a worse fighting item now. It deals 10 damage less. Like that, you shouldn't. It's not a huge deal, but it shouldn't be ignored.
Think of it this way: 10 damage less, but you're farming that much faster to make up for that. I don't know. I think it's really good. And keep in mind the
but
Battle
then you need to
Fury
remember
is
that
a Quelling Blade now too.
Yeah, but in this patch, farming creeps is less valuable than relative to killing heroes compared to last version,
true.
right?
That's true.
So if this is like a bigger investment where you're really committing to farming, and when you fight, you're weaker. And since farming is less attractive, like I think it's trying to balance itself out, where it's like, okay, creeps are less valuable, so we make Battle Fury better, so it's still worth picking it up. But at the same time, pay a little bit
Yeah, I see your point.
in the fights. But the cleave radius being increased, of course, is a buff for everything, both for farming and for fighting. So 30 radius is not that, it's not huge, but it's also not something you should just ignore. So
Keep in mind, there's also more creeps earlier. Remember that change as well, although that's not quite as prevalent. But like I was saying, the battlefury can be used as a quelling blade as well. It's activatable, so that's another cool thing. So you can just counter wards as a carry. You don't have to have a support do it for you. BKB can now be sold, something that people have been waiting for since ever since that one change where you can't replenish the timer or whatever it's called. What is this?
Yeah, but
it does not reset its duration. So even if you rebuy it, doesn't matter. Okay, I'm fine with that. That should have been done a long time ago.
It's an option if you feel like the 5-second BKB is actually less valuable than an item slot. But I still think this item is... It's super situational. Like, this is still, in most competitive games at least, still part of most 6-item builds. Anyway.
Okay.
But yeah.
Blade Mail, damage return cooldown reduced by 2. Okay. Blades of Attack, cost reduced by 30. Okay. Phase Boots duration is a little bit lower, but it's way cheaper now.
Forge is 3.6. That's so arbitrary, though.
It is. But it's 60
like,
gold
we're
less
reducing...
now.
We're reducing the cost of Claws of Attack, so we're buffing Crystallis and we're buffing Phase Boots, so we need to remove 1/10 of the phase duration. Like, I don't know.
Random.
Is there some sort of obvious...
Smoking that crack, I tell you what.
Synergy with this? Like, is there something where it makes sense that it's just not exactly for... I can't think of anything where it's like, oh, damn, now I can't do this thing anymore that I could before with...
Makes perfect sense.
4 seconds of phase. I don't know. Weird.
Boots of Travel cooldown is now 45 seconds.
Man, that's getting really short. This item's getting good.
Buckler armor bonus radius is now 900, which again we'll be seeing that number a lot. Butterfly flutter duration is 6 seconds instead of 8, but at the same time it's now 5% faster, which is nice.
I think this is a nerf.
I don't think so. Really?
You cut off
2 seconds.
25% of the duration for an additional 20, like relative. You get 5% extra move speed, so it's a 25% increase in the increase of move speed, but a 25% reduction in duration. Like most heroes that use flutter, I feel like are already like this extra 5% compared to 2 seconds is not really that attractive. I don't know. Maybe it's not that important anyway, I guess.
Clarity duration is 5 seconds longer. Total mana restored is 20 more than before, and the cast range has been increased to 250, which we'll see. That's another number to keep in mind for consumables.
I don't know if this was the way clarity needed to go. I feel like this duration is it's so long. Like you need to not take any damage for 45 seconds. Like what heroes actually benefit from this regularly?
A few
supports that really want to stay off the map, like Shaker, Enigma in the jungle, and like smaller handful of heroes. I would have rather seen it take a shorter duration and then give the same mana as a buff instead. So like 35 seconds, but still give 150 would have been better in my opinion.
I think they want to incentivize the mangoes.
Love me some mango.
Yep. Cloak, magic resistance is now 20%. Very nice.
Yep.
Vanguard, damage block increased from a random 67%. Somebody was smoking crack on that one as well, to 75 now. Crimson Guard, as a result, is now 75 as well, but in addition, it will block 5 more damage, and again, that 900 radius that we're going to be seeing on literally every item.
Damage, the guard damage block is 5 higher, not the passive one on Crimson Guard. Yeah. So the one you share with your team. Yep.
Deso, damage decreased by 10, but the recipe's only 300.
This is a really big change.
Yes.
This item goes from being situational and a pickup on a few heroes. I think this is going to make it be seen a lot more. This incentivizes pushing and doing Roshan easier with it, and I guess like you talked about Brood earlier, situational pickup on a Brood who doesn't have an orb anymore. It's pretty cool. I think this is a way better version of the item.
Yeah, I agree.
It still has the full minus armor and super cheap.
Minus 7 armor, and keep in mind that the tower. Wait, which tower was it that was reduced in armor? All of them, or just
tier 2? Tier 2.
Tier 2. Okay. Diffusal blade now works on ranged illusions for half the value.
Oh wait, maybe it was tier 2 and 3. Sorry, yeah, go on. I think maybe it was.
All right, anything to say about this one? I have nothing to say.
The diffusal?
Yeah.
So it used to have full value, and then it got removed for ranged heroes because it was considered way too broken on a hero like a Drow to go for Manta Diffusal or something like that. I think there were other heroes at the point. Potom was building Diffusal Manta. But it sucks. It kind of sucked that it went from being great on ranged heroes to being like never picked up for anything else than the purge. Like the stats are not worth the price, and now that you get half the feedback at least, it's actually starting to become an item you will want to get on ranged heroes again. So I like that a lot. It kind of changed. It was changed too drastically from being great to being kind of shit on range, and now it's maybe worth it in some heroes. That's cool.
Divine Rapier, 330 damage. Okay. 30
I don't know.
increase. Random.
This item, I feel like Divine Rapier. It's weird. Like,
Should be weird.
why would you change that item?
I don't know.
It's already like, is there some sort of agenda with this? That...
Well, there's a lot of damage block coming in now, mitigation, so got to make Divine Rapier better, obviously.
Oh, that could be. I don't know. Why don't you buff all the other damage items too?
Because Divine Rapier needs to be the best of the best. Dust of Appearance. Move speed slow is now 20% instead of 15.
Oh,
Seeing a lot more invis perhaps in the future. Drum of Endurance. The Endurance, which I believe is the active, not the passive. Attack speed bonus is now increased from 10 to 20, so doubling.
Yep.
It's quite a bit. I still...
Yeah, the 10 attack speed is shit. Like, that's really very little.
I'm not a big fan of the diffusal and drum charge system. Never been a fan.
No. I could definitely agree with implementing a way to remove charges on those items, but I think it's harder on drum than it is on diffusal to do that.
Well, if the one thing about diffusal is if you're going to keep the charge system, you should be able to just keep buying a recipe at least to refresh the charges.
Yeah.
Like drum, you can do that, but nobody ever does it because, like, by the time you get to that point, you're like, well, I don't want to pay, what is it, 800 or whatever gold it is to at this point because I'm already farmed enough. So I don't know. But it doesn't seem like he wants to change that. So what else? Eagle Song now costs 100 less. Okay. Yule's
Buster
Scepter
Butterfly and E-Blade.
Yep, that's true. Yule's Scepter of Divinity, big nerf, 100 extra mana now to activate, so 175 overall.
This is a smart change. There were a couple of suggestions for this. I read one of them, which I kind of liked, which was after using it, so when it's on cooldown, you lose the move speed, for example. That was pretty cool. I think other suggestions were to just, the flat stat nerfs or something like that, or changing the cooldown and whatnot.
I like this more than that, because if
this is cool.
Shadow Fiend picks up a freaking
really
Yule's, which is random, now it's going to cost them a lot of mana.
Yeah.
Especially if it gets
smart
a mech
change
as well. I mean, good lord.
And when you think about what it does, like it's one thing relative to how it's been played, right? But if you just look at the item in isolation and what it does, that is worth more than 75 mana. What you cast.
Yep.
Like that spell is sick.
Yep.
So I think that's fair.
Eye of Scotty. The cold attack slow duration for ranged heroes is now 0.5 seconds less than before. The melee heroes have not been changed. A lot of people were expecting this to be nerfed a lot more. That's not much of a nerf.
I'm glad Scotty doesn't get nerfed much.
Agreed. I feel like I'm the only one, but now you've joined the club. Thank you. It's my favorite item.
It's really nice. Yeah, let's go on.
Flying Courier vision is 300, so 100 less than before, but the speed burst has been increased by 150. Okay?
This courier is freaking fast. 800 move speed on a flying courier burst.
Yep. Now,
what the hell?
Bloodseeker's the only one that can theoretically keep up with the courier now. When in speed burst.
Well, still blinks and stuff. But yeah.
How dare you? Force Staff health regeneration increased from 3 to 4. Okay. Ghost Scepter cost reduced by 100, and the attributes bonus is 2 less, which is pretty big, but the item is still obviously good.
It's a nerf overall, I would say.
Yep.
Although in a lot of cases you pick up the Ghost Scepter just for the ethereal, so then you'll be like, okay, 100 less gold, and you don't really care so much about the stats, but yeah.
I always find it random that
minor
it gives 7
change
stats.
regardless.
That was pretty random, but whatever.
No.
Gloves of Haste attack speed increased by 5. Okie dokie. Headdress regeneration aura radius increased to 900, as is the number. Healing Salve duration is 8 seconds, so less. It's actually better than before.
Yep, heals faster.
And the cast range for allies is 250. Reever is 200 less than before, but the heart is increased by 200 to counteract that. But in addition...
That still means Satanic is cheaper.
Yeah, Satanic is cheaper. But for heart, the health regen increased from 2 to 3.25% of total HP per second. But the regeneration disable time has been nerfed in the fact that for melee hero it takes an extra second for it to activate, and for ranged an extra second as well. What are
I
your
don't feel
thoughts
like
on
this
this?
item. I still feel like Heart is a weaker Scotty in most cases.
So the only way that this is good is if you're in like some long god-awful siege that you're trying to push high ground.
Yeah, you get out and you reset and heal again.
Like, you were talking about Lifestealer. This could be a really good item for life. I mean, it already is, but
Yeah.
item that would make it a
I
little
don't
bit
know.
more sense, maybe. I don't know.
To me, this doesn't change too much about Heart, really.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of agree. I remember the old days when it wouldn't break when you were attacked. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Miss those days.
I mean, the difference is that the build up into Heart now is cheaper, so indirectly it gets more value since you get your Reever faster. But it's not like a very big jump, the 200 gold
Yep.
would cost. But,
Lincoln Sphere spellblock cooldown reduced by 1 second. Okie dokie.
all right.
Magic Wand. This is pretty cool. So instead of a magic stick and 3 branches and a recipe, it's now a magic stick, 2 branches, and a circlet. All attribute bonuses from 3 to 4. So I'm pretty sure this is not the case, but just double checking with you. Circlet cannot be bought in the side shop, right?
Oh, shit. I don't think so.
Because if it was, that would be pretty awesome. You could buy the full thing in the side shop, but
Oh, you still can't buy the recipe there.
there's
And you also can't buy branches there.
there's no recipe anymore.
Oh, you're right. Oh, I didn't. Oh, wow. I was like, oh, this is a nerf to Magic. I was about to say, this is a nerf. It's way more expensive. And oh, yeah, you're right.
It's good.
Yeah, but you
bro.
can't buy branches in the side shop, I think.
So you have to start with 2
Right.
branches and a circlet, and then get magic stick at the side shop, and then you'll have a full wand. It's pretty good. It's not bad.
I like it, but I like it because I feel like Circlet is still not like Circlet got reduced in price, but it's still not that attractive of an item, and
Yeah.
this gives it another build up to make it a good choice.
Agreed.
So you may want to start with this in, for example, in the mid lane. In some cases, instead of always getting, say, a Wraith Band or whatever, you could maybe go Circlet, double branch, and then turn into wand later. It's cool.
Mask of
Oh,
Madness, big nerf for a lot of the heroes.
Praise the Lord.
Berserk move speed bonus has been reduced from 30% to 17, so it's gonna. You can't run away with it as well anymore. Farming camps is gonna be a little bit slower. What are your thoughts?
Needed. This is a good nerf.
Okay.
I like this a lot.
Mechanism, restore active and mechanism aura, 900 radius. Okay, we've already been over that.
Cool.
Mjolnir, static charge no longer jumps to units that are invisible or in fog of war. What does this little thing say? Same behavior as chain lightning. Okay. Static charge
Yep.
cast range increased to 800, so 200 buff.
Very minor change. It's fine.
Necronomicon. This is pretty big buffs to the level 1 and 2 Necros. So I'm not going to read it all. You guys can read it. But basically it was almost not even worth activating. I mean, it was kind of. But Necro 1 is so weak compared to 3. Now it's a gradual improvement.
Yeah. It's identical on level 3, but the 2 first levels, especially level 1, got some love, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially level 1 got better. Yep. That's good.
Observer Ward now comes in single increments. Oh, look at that. Another Han thing. Cost and restock time reduced by half and stock doubled to counteract that, obviously. Observer Wards now provide a 50 XP bonus, or XP bounty, when destroyed. And attacking a ward can no longer miss. Same for sentries.
Oh, that's nice. That is nice. That was such a dumb random thing.
Yep. That was in the game for literally over 10 years. Yeah, so some love for supports. That's good.
I don't feel like this one coming in single increments is that important, actually. I mean, it's nice that you can buy them more frequently as supports, even though you don't have a build-up. So it's like a buff to supports that are really poor, right? That you can, if you're having a hard time in the start, barely getting your boots, you can buy one ward and wait with the second one. But ultimately, in terms of efficiency, at least in competitive Dota, you always want to have at least one stack of wards bought from the shop, so it keeps
yeah, but you can technically
restocking.
split the cost if you want to buy something extra on that one hero.
Yeah, it's true. You can let one support buy one ward and one buy the other. That's nice. Yeah, that's nice. Why didn't I think of that? That's true.
And then you can
So
get
it's
almost
easier
an
for the
extra
two supports too.
health salve or some other or a mango almost 150. You know.
Yep.
Mango,
That's
orb
true.
of venom.
Or-
Poison.
Wait a second. Can both supports actually start with boots then? How big? The Courier is 120, right?
God, don't ask me. I don't buy Courier. I think it's 120.
Both supports can start with boots, right? The starting goal is 650. And one ward is 75. Yeah, you have. So if you buy Courier and you get one ward, you have 455 gold left. If I am correct, and you start with 650 gold, it's actually unbelievable. I don't know this for certain, but I seem to remember
I'm
that.
pretty sure it's 650. Yeah.
Because then both supports can actually start with boots. That's an interesting change.
I like it. Orb of Venom,
Oh,
poison
well,
attack, damage
wait.
over time is
Now,
now. Oh,
what am I? No, Shannon, you need to wait now. Because beforehand, you could actually also do that. But then one person needed to buy the wards, and the other needed to buy the
that's
Courier.
true. Yeah, yeah.
And then you had some odd values. But now it's like one guy who buys Courier and one of the wards, and then he's like boots and boots only. But then the other one can buy boots and a bit of regen for himself or something. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's completely irrelevant.
It's a good change.
Sorry about
basically.
Yes, fair enough.
Orb of Venom can now kill people. Good. Pipe of Insight.
Yep.
The Insight aura now provides 10% magic resistance aura to nearby allies. So this makes it way better than it used to be, I think at least.
That's really good.
And of course the aura is now 900. So
that's really,
are
really,
we actually
really
going to see this item ever as a result of this?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. This is enough. This makes it way better of a purchase.
Add in Rubik with that null field, man, on top of those creeps as well. Got a pretty
amazing
lineup. Power treads get 1 extra stat. Good. Quarterstaff cost reduced by 25.
Yep.
So butterfly's even less expensive than originally thought. Actually, I forgot about this one. All right, this one I'm not a big fan of personally. Radiance recipe costs a little bit more, 75 to be exact, and the burn now causes affected enemies to have a 17% miss rate.
Yeah, I don't know about this. I guess the thing was that Radiance was way too, like, it's an item that was tailored to only be picked up by very specific heroes, right? You got it on illusion-based heroes and Lone Druid. Did anyone else ever get a Radiance in the last 2 years of competitive Dota?
I don't know. I feel like Mjolnir overtook it for most heroes.
Yeah. So maybe this is a way of trying to appeal to other heroes and make them want to purchase it, and maybe it was also considered that in terms of actual fighting value, Radiance was really poor value for what it cost, and now it brings something else to the table.
You know what? Actually, who is it? Is it Leviathan that plays Wraith King with Radiance? I can't remember who it is.
Oh yeah, Wraith King gets it too. Yeah, Wraith King can get it.
So this is, well, I'm saying it's more prevalent now on him. I mean, it's not that common on Wraith King, is it? I don't think it's that common.
In pubs, there's a lot of times people go Blade Mail Radiance, but it's.
But now, having something
see.
on Wraith King is actually, that's quite helpful. You're gonna be around a long time. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just afraid. The reason I don't like it, it's not because of what I'm seeing on the screen now. It's picturing a Naga Siren with this, and it makes me sick to my stomach. Like, her illusions will be that much harder to kill. Like, ugh. Okay, moving on. Refresher Orb reworked the components and bonuses. So it now takes, double Perseverance and the recipe. So the recipe is the same cost, but as a result of 2 Perseverances, you're going to get less stats overall. So instead of 6 int, you get nothing. You get 10 HP regen instead of 5, though. That's a bit of a buff. The mana regen is a buff as well, 50 extra, but you get 20 damage instead of 40, and you get no attack speed.
This is definitely nerfed.
Yes.
On most heroes. It at least makes it a nerf on the, like, carry heroes that want to get it to refresh their inventory. Like a 6th item refresher on Phantom Assassin, so you have 2 Abyssals, 2 BKBs, etc. Because the stats aren't as big of a payoff. As far as utility heroes getting refresher, I want to say it's almost no difference, really. But the 6 int being gone is probably the biggest deal, because a lot of heroes don't have the mana to use refresher. And now they need a way of compensating for that 6 int. To be exact, that is 78 mana you're missing with the new refresher. So a lot of heroes, you think a hero like Tide and him getting refresher, sometimes with his item build is like down to 50 mana of how little.
Well, keep in mind that some of these heroes like Tide have Arcane Boots, which now cost 0 mana to use.
Yeah, unless if you upgrade them into the Guardian Greaves, then
right. If you don't.
Oh wait, never mind.
Wait, how much?
No, then never mind. They regain 160 instead of 150, I think. So they're even better, I guess. So never mind that.
All right. Moving on, Rod of
Regardless,
Atos, intelligence increased from 25 to 30. That's a nice change.
That's a pretty big buff.
Yeah,
This
pretty
item
good.
might start getting picked up a bit more now.
On Silencer, of course.
Yeah, well, more heroes. It's so good stats now for its price, and it has to be because Cripple is still meh, but
It could be considered another
really,
buff
really
kind
good
of
stats.
indirectly for OD on top of the Ags.
Yeah, that's true.
There's more options
That's
now.
very true.
Satanic Unholy Rage duration increased from 3.5 to 4. I think that's fine. I mean, a lot of times
Fair
you don't
enough.
see this used effectively, you know? Because you get stunned or something like that. You don't get enough time to use it. I don't know. I think I'm fine with this.
I think this is fine.
And it's cheaper, of course, from before. Sentry Ward, we already talked about this. Can no longer miss when trying to deward. Shiva's Guard, freezing aura enemy attack speed reduction. Improved from 40 to 45. Okay.
I feel like that was not necessary. I think Shiva's is actually a really good item already.
Well, it's more
but
difficult
I'm not sure
to buy
what.
now, syndereN, because you have to go to the secret shop for 2 of the components. So, you know. That's what you get for
I'm
it.
not sure what prompted. I'm not sure what prompted this change. This seems really arbitrary compared to a lot of the other ones, but okay.
Stout Shield, cost reduced by 50. The damage block chance reduced from 53 to 50. That's pretty arbitrary. But the block damage has been reduced from 20 to 16, and for ranged from 10 to 8.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a nerf and a buff in price. It's actually a nerf overall because it doesn't block a lot of spells now. So
I want to say it's also a nerf for jungling
yeah,
overall. Like that extra 50 gold is not the problem. The problem is that you can't jungle as easily anymore. With it, so.
yeah, I agree.
Oh wait, what am I saying? Oh yeah, I am. I am saying the right thing, or am I?
Why?
Yeah, I am.
It's a nerf.
Go on.
Tango, not to
Go
be
on.
confused with mango, can now be used to eat wards. You can eat freaking wards.
I feel like okay, this is #1 most random idea ever. In Dota
Eating a
2.
ward
Like, I don't know.
heals for double the amount, which is 230 HP over 16 seconds. They taste better. 450 cast range. What the fuck?
This is so random.
Don't understand.
I don't know. I feel like most patches in the last year or 2 years have had like one little Easter egg, you know, something that's random or stupid or funny. Like, either it's just a joke that gets put in there and isn't actually there, like the patch log with Anti-Mage getting his number of legs nerfed or whatever, you know. And then other times it is something actually put into the game that just seems so weird and out of
All right,
place.
I actually have a theory about this, and you're the only person that can answer whether this is actually a huge deal, because I think it could be a big deal, actually. I think this affects the laning stage quite a bit, if you can eat your own wards. So you put a sentry in the middle of the camp that's blocked and definitely deward it, then eat your own sentry, and then you don't have to wait the 2 minutes or however long for the sentry to disappear.
Oh, ooh.
Am I
Yeah.
ridiculously smart, or is that not a thing?
If you can target your own wards
Yes.
with this, then it opens up for some really interesting potential for counter warding. Not just you put it in a place that blocks your own camp but also sees the other wards, and then you eat it. That's actually a really interesting idea if it works that way. I don't know if you can eat
No
own
idea.
wards.
I should have tested it.
If you can, that's a really good suggestion. Alternatively, you can use it if you find an enemy ward that you want to counter ward, you can eat it and go harass in lane for free, basically, right? Then
Yeah.
you have like 230 extra health to do with as support. So, I mean, regardless, it's still super random, but that's actually, especially the deward point is really good if it works that way. I don't know though.
I hope so. I think it's the idea of having to wait for your sentry to disappear is kind of weird, honestly. I think that's a little bit of a dumb thing, but just my opinion. Okay, moving on. Town Portal Scroll cooldown increased by 5. And then even the most probably ridiculous thing that made no sense, it no longer removes Ethereal State, which is funny, actually, because this happened to me last night. And as I was doing it, I was like, fuck, I completely forgot about this stupid thing that's in the game. And then literally the next day, I find out that it's not happening anymore. Like, what the hell? Why is that a thing in the game?
It's just to make it consistent between Boots of Travel and Town Portal, because Boots of Travel work that way.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Already.
Okay.
Yeah, they didn't remove Ethereal State, but Town Portal did, and I think the reason it was introduced was that it was considered too easy to escape specific heroes on ganks because you could just go Scepter and port, and that was considered overpowered. But I guess there's just enough counters by now, and the
Well,
way
you have to
people play,
spend
it's not going to be.
1,500 gold to counter it. Like, I think that's fine.
Oh well, you're obviously not getting it just for that. It just means the item gets another benefit.
Okay. Yeah.
But
I think it's fine.
Obviously, the main thing here is still #1 because that affects every hero in every game. You will always TP. And having longer cooldown, this makes Boots of Travel better relatively, and makes using town portals correctly even more important. Failed TPs get punished even harder now. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Urn of Shadows, casting Soul Release, which I guess is the name. I didn't know it was called Soul Release. That sounds very bowel-like a bowel obstruction. Anyway, when you cast
Have you seen what it looks like when you have Urn on you? It looks like you're peeing out of all your sides.
Every orifice is having urine? Okay,
Absolutely.
Anyway, when you cast on an enemy already under the effects of Soul Release, now refreshes the existing debuff instead of applying a separate instance. Okay, makes sense. That's the same way how heal works. I didn't know that. I thought it was already like that, to be honest, so. Okay.
Yeah. Fair enough.
And 2 more, I think. Veil of Discord recipe decreased. Cooldown reduced to 20. The duration reduced, though, to 16, so only 4-second downtime as opposed to 5, which I guess is not that big of a deal. Mana cost reduced to 50 as well. I want to see this item more often, and I think we might.
Main thing here is the recipe reduced cost, I think. That's the main thing.
Okay.
That it gets cheaper. Cooldown reduction is nice. It means if you misuse it or don't get the ideal situation, it's not like you really need to land it well. You can land it okay and you can start harassing. Like you said, 4-second downtime. The mana cost, I don't feel like is the biggest of deals. The heroes that pick up Veil generally have an abundance of mana with it.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
I think
it's okay.
the thing I like about it is that this patch is kind of catered towards spellcasters. So this item.
Yeah, you need to
actually
remember
might pick up a
Pipe
lot
got
more.
buffed too, though.
True.
So that kind of counters Veil.
But
maybe we'll step a little bit away from BKBs and a little more toward Pipe and Veil. I still
I'd like
think
to see
BKB
that.
is still. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
We'll see. Vladimir's Offering rounds out this patch. Lifesteal decreased by 1%, but it now grants 10% lifesteal to range heroes a la Vampiric Aura for Wraith King. And the recipe, or I'm sorry, the lead up to it is now different. Instead of a Ring of Regeneration, it now requires a Headdress. It provides 2 to all stats, and the Aura provides 3 health regen. So wait.
This item is so good now.
Wait. Does it not give 5 armor to everybody?
I'm gonna assume it does because it still uses Sobi Mask, or sorry, it still uses Basilius Bill. I think this is just the changes and the rest is the same. I'd be shocked if it doesn't. Like, else it also would have lost its damage aura. That one isn't listed either.
No, wait. Now requires Headdress instead of Ring of Regeneration. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right.
So the aura is just different.
Okay. Yeah.
This item is sick now.
Yeah, it's really
Like,
good.
I felt like it was already really, really good value before when it didn't even have lifesteal for ranged heroes, and now that it does this. This is like, there's almost no argument for not getting one of this on your team in every single game of Dota 2.
Yeah.
Like, it's just that good.
I mean, we
So
see it in
maybe this is
competitive
too
a
big of a
lot.
buff. Like,
Yeah,
it's insanely good.
it's really good. All right. Well, that rounds out patch 6.84, I believe it is.
How quickly did we manage this?
It's been 3.5 hours.
Okay.
Not too
I guess
shabby.
that's okay. Considering how huge this patch was, I
It
feel like
is
we were more
enormous.
effective. We were more effective than the last few times, but we also pre-read it, so we knew some things going
We
on.
cheated a bit. So what are your, as we end this video, which I'm sure everybody's hoping for, what do you think of this patch?
I
Let me
think
give my
it's-
thoughts.
It's okay. Go ahead.
No, because
Fair
I know
enough.
that yours are going to be considered the correct one, so I want to give mine first.
Okay.
I think, first of all, I really like it. I like all the new, or most of the new items I really like. Some of the new mechanics being introduced I really like. The fact that Ags is being more of an actual thing you can pick up on a lot of heroes is really cool. Some of them are really dumb at the same time. A lot of, like, Tinker and LC. But overall, I'm pretty damn happy with this patch. It makes everything. it refreshes everything. It feels like a new game almost, you know? Freshen things up.
Yeah. I was thinking that for my keyword for this actually is refreshing. So you stole my thunder, kind of.
Yes.
That's what I think too. It's really refreshing to get new stuff like this. I think I got some of the stuff I really wanted to see was a couple of key nerfs, which we got, and then I was worried we were going to get too many buffs, but I think it's going to be fairly balanced out by the fact that creeps give less gold, and there's going to be more focus on fighting as a result. So I think that's okay. And then out of all the refreshing things, I think this patch, some of the new things introduced, mainly damage mitigation and a lot of purges, are really cool. But I have a feeling like something in this patch is going to be fixed very quickly. Like I have a hard time believing that this patch is balanced as it is right now. It's very refreshing. It's going into a test phase, and we're going to see it repatched over the next 2 weeks. I think we're going to get 2 or 3 patches, nerfing and maybe buffing a few things.
All right, within 3 weeks from this video release, what will the version be? 6.84 and what letter?
C.
Okay.
Oh, maybe B.
Okay.
I don't know. But yeah, it's super cool. Like a lot of the ideas are great. Like just great convenience ideas, great creative stuff. A lot of the, like you said, the ags are funny and should make for a great pub patch, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
But from a competitive standpoint, this is not balanced yet. And I would be absolutely shocked if we don't get very, very, like some pretty big balance changes when the pros start playing the version. But yeah, that's how you balance out the version. You have to try it. Like there's no other way. But I'm excited to play Dota now, and I was before. I was like, oh, I hated Dota, but
yeah, that's why you've been
it's gonna
playing
be
so
like
many other
it's
games,
gonna be like it's gonna be like playing a new game.
Yep.
In a way. So
Agreed.
that's always nice.
Should be fun.
Good stuff.
I don't know, like when this video is released, I'm not sure if the patch will actually be out yet. I don't know when the patch is coming out, but it's this week sometime. I don't think they've actually given a date, right? But
No,
I'm assuming it's soon.
I'm guessing it's coming out on Thursday, so they have today and tomorrow to test and find at least the first obvious bugs. Maybe even do a little bit of balance changing already. We'll see.
Okay. Sounds good. If you guys made it to the end and actually watched all 3.5 godforsaken hours, tweet both syndereN and myself, syndereN Dota and SUNSfan TV. Let us know if you made it, and thank you for listening to to his insight and my horrendous. I don't know what to call. I don't know what to call it. My rambling. I don't know.
You had some really good points this time.
Oh, this time. Last time I was terrible though. Apparently, that's good.
Oh, that's what you're communicating. You're communicating that you're awful to listen to.
I think I'm just like anybody else. It's a hit or a miss. You know, I'm not consistent.
All right, so
That's just how it goes.
this is my review of your performance today, Shen.
Yes. Okay. Tell me, please. Give me a rating.
You had okay. Oh,
Will you commend me for this?
You get commend.
Yes.
You can get friendly, I guess.
Okay. And as syndereN continues to stumble upon his own words, thanks for watching, guys, and let us know what you thought of the patch in the comments as well. So until next time, this is SUNSfan syndereN signing out. See you guys later.
Bye.
Yes.